GRIAS Academy.
100 days, 100 themes, one goal, UPSC Prelims. Hello all, welcome back to the program Mission Surya Phase 3, where we deal with current affairs regarding science and technology and environment completely in Prelims perspective. So let's get started our today's session. In today's session, we are going to talk about the Environmental Protection Acts which are there in the judiciary, which are mentioned under for protecting the environment and the wildlife. Okay, now moving on, let's see. The first thing is constitutional framework for environment protection. Constitutional framework for environment protection, under which we can see generally these environmental protection acts are not mentioned in the original constitution of India, but after the amendment of 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1976, these environmental protection acts have come included in the original constitution by influence of Stockholm Conference. How? See, environmental protection was not explicitly part of the original constitution but was introduced by a 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, heavily influenced by the 1972 Stockholm Conference. Okay. Next, under this we have few articles. What are those articles? Article 48 capital A in Directive Principles of State Policy. What this article states is, it directs the state to protect and improve the environment and safeguard forests and wildlife, to safeguard forests and wildlife. This is the Article 48 capital A. Next, our next article is Article 51 capital A subclause G, which is in the fundamental duties. In fundamental duties, what this article states is, it makes the duty of every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, to have compassion for living creatures. Now, what is Article 21 about? Article 21 in fundamental rights. What is this Article 21? The Article 21 is right to life and personal liberty. Right? Right to life and personal liberty is stated in Article 21, which is in the fundamental rights. What this article states about this environment means, the Supreme Court has expansively interpreted the right to life. It expansively interpreted the right to life to include the right to a clean and wholesome environment. From which case this outcome has come? The outcome for this has come from Subhash Kumar versus State of Bihar, 1991. Okay, next. Next is, we'll elaborate few major legislations and all. We'll see. The first one is Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Our first act is Wildlife Protection Act 1972. What is the main objective of this act? To protect the flora, fauna and ecologically important protected areas. Ecologically important protected areas. Okay, the main objective is to protect these flora, fauna and ecologically important protected areas. Next, coming to the constitutional status of this act, this initially forests and protection of wild animals. Forests and protection of wildlife were state subjects. Basically, these are the state subjects. After the amendment, after the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, what happened? All the state lists, what you called the forest and protection of wild animals has gone into the concurrent list. Rather than the state list, it is in the concurrent list. Okay. Now, see, the recent amendment, the Wildlife Protection Act, Amendment Act 2002, which stated that it reduced the number of schedules. Basically, the Wildlife Protection Act has 6 schedules. But now, after the amendment in 2002, it reduced the schedules to 4. From 6, it reduced the schedules to 4. See, the first schedule is animal species enjoying the highest level of population. The first schedule is animal species enjoying the highest level of protection. Next, Schedule 2 is animal species with a less degree of protection. Animal protection and animal species with less degree of protection. Next, the third schedule is protected plant species. Protected plant species, not only animals, even plants are also being endangered. Many plants are being also endangered. Next, Schedule 4. Schedule 4 is for species protected under CITES like Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. Next, this provides the declaration of conservation reserves by the central government. This provides the declaration for conservation reserves by the central government. Previously, only state governments could do this. Previously only state governments could do this because they was placed in the state list. When whatever the subjects are placed in the state list, only state can take the decision. The central government wouldn't have been interrupting. But when it is went into the concurrent list, central government is also being involved in it. Okay, next. The next one is National Board for Wildlife. National Board for Wildlife, which is chaired by the Prime Minister of India. It is the apex body. It is an apex body for reviewing all wildlife related matters, and approving projects in and around national parks or sanctuaries. All the projects or else any protection acts or else any reviewing of the wildlife related things, everything will be seen by the National Board of Wildlife, which is chaired by the Prime Minister of India. Okay, next. Second one is the State Board for Wildlife. State Board for Wildlife, which is chaired by the Chief Minister. Okay, Chief Minister of that particular state. Next is Central Zoo Authority. Central Zoo Authority, which regulates what? Zoos and captive breeding. They regulate the zoo and captive breedings. Next is National Tiger Conservation Authority. National Tiger Conservation Authority, which is constituted in the year 2005 on the recommendations of the Tiger Task Force. On the recommendation of Tiger Task Force, which is chaired by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Okay, next is Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, which combats organized with wildlife crime. Okay, these are few statutory bodies which created under Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, next, coming to the water prevention and pollution control, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. What is the objective of this act? Objective is prevention and control of water pollution, prevention and control of water pollution and maintenance or restoration of water wholesomeness. Okay. Next, what is the key provision of this Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 is lead to the creation of the Central Pollution Control Board, Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board, Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Boards. Next, the main UPSC catch would be this Central Pollution Control Board is a statutory organization constituted under the Water Act 1974, under the Water Act 1974, not the Air Act or Environment Protection Act. Okay, generally UPSC might trick you here. Basically, see, Central Pollution Control Board is a statutory body under statutory organization which is constituted under the Water Act 1974, not under any Air Act or Environmental Protection Act. This can be tricked by the examiner in the UPSC examination. So please have a look of it. Okay. Though it derives the powers from both of them, like from it constitutes the powers from the Wildlife Protection Act and the Air Act, but basically it is a statutory body under the Water Act 1974. Okay, make a note of it. Next, the next act is Air Prevention and Control Pollution Act 1981. We have seen Water Air Pollution Act 1972, right? Now it is Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. What is the major objective of this? The major objective is to prevention, control and abatement of air pollution. Abatement of air pollution. What is the implementation of this act is the CPCB and State Pollution Control Board, Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Boards which are established under the Water Act are entrusted with the task of implementing the Air Act as well. Task of implementing the Air Act as well. These three implemented the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. What is the key provision of it? The key provision is it empowers the state government to declare an area as a air pollution control area. Okay. It also regulates noise as an amendment in 1987. After the amendment in 1987, it included the noise also, like regulating the noise. Included noise with the definition of air pollution, which included after this amendment, noise is also included under the air pollution. Okay, next. The next act is, we have seen water, we have seen air, and next is Forest Conservation Act 1980. What is the main objective of this Forest Conservation Act 1980 is to strictly regulate the de-reservation of forests and the diversion of forest lands for non-forestry purposes. Prior approval of the central government is mandatory. Whatever you are doing in the premises of the forest, it is mandatory to take the permission of the government under the Forest Conservation Act 1980. Okay, now recent amendment. What is the recent amendment of this act? This act is 1 Sanrakshan Evam Samvardhan Adhiniyam 2023. 1 Sanrakshan Evam Samvardhan Adhiniyam 2023. Adhiniyam 2023. What is it up to? It exempts certain forest lands. Like from the act, such as lands situated within 100 kilometers. The lands which are situated within the 100 kilometers of international borders. The land which is situated with 100 kilometers of international borders if used for strategic linear projects of national importance. Okay, this is the one exemption. The second exemption is exempts land required for security related infrastructure. The land which is related for any security related infrastructure under 10 up to 10 hectares of land, it is exempted under the Forest Conservation Act 1980. The next is which promotes plantations on non-forest lands. It promotes the plantations on non-forest lands to increase carbon sinks. Okay. These are few exemptions of the recent amendment which happened in 2023. Okay, next we have seen air, water, forest. Now it is environment. Environment Protection Act 1986. Environment Protection Act 1986. What is the trigger of it? It is enacted in the wake of Bhopal gas strategy. Everyone must be knowing about this Bhopal gas strategy. Many lives have been ended because of this, right? Yes. See. What is the nature? It is an umbrella legislation that provides a framework for central government coordination of activities by various authorities established under previous law, that is Water Act, Air Act. Water Act and Air Act. Okay. Let's see the important provisions and tool derived from this Environmental Protection Act. What is it? The first one is Environmental Impact Assessment. Environmental Impact Assessment, which states that mandatory for 39 categories of developmental projects. Okay, mandatory for 39 categories of developmental projects. Next is the eco-sensitive zones. Eco-sensitive zones, which are declared around protected areas which are declared around the protected areas as a shock absorbers. Which are shock absorbers means the term eco-sensitive zone is not mentioned in the Wildlife Protection Environment Protection Act or Wildlife Protection Act 1972. This the eco-sensitive zone is not mentioned in Wildlife Protection Act 1972. It is declared under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Have a note on it. Basically, this generally will get confused. Eco-sensitive zones means will get confused with the, yes, we must have been in the Wildlife Protection Act also. No, these are considered to Environment Protection Act. Okay. Next, the next one is Biological Diversity Act 2002. Biological Diversity Act 2002. What is the international alignment of this? It enacted to implement the Convention on Biological Diversity, to which India is a party. Which had a 3-tier structure. We will see what are those 3-tier structures. Number 1 is National Biodiversity Authority. The first tier is the National Biodiversity Authority, which is headquartered in Chennai. Okay, which is headquartered in Chennai and regulates the access to biological resources. By foreign entities. Okay. The next tier is State Biodiversity Boards, which regulates the access by Indian citizens. Next tier is Biodiversity Management Committees, which is set up by the local panchayats or municipalities. Level, which is responsible for preparing the People's Biodiversity Register. What is the core concept of this Act, Biological Diversity Act 2002 is, it ensures fair and equitable benefit sharing. With local communities holding traditional knowledge preventing bioprivacy. Okay, this is the core concept of this Act, Biological Diversity Act 2002. The next is Forest Rights Act 2006. What is the full name of this act is Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Reorganization Act of Forest Rights Act 2006. What is the full name of this act? Scheduled Tribes and Other Traditional Forest Dwellers Regulation Act of Forest Rights Act 2006. Okay. What is the nodal agency for this? The nodal agency is Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Generally we will be confusing with like it is under the, this will be under the, basically we are talking about the environment only, no? Might be about forest and environment, so we will think it is the nodal agency will be Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. But no, this is a very big trap and very confusing thing. It comes under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. It doesn't come under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Have a note on it. Be careful about it. See, what are the rights granted for this act? Means, first is title rights. What are the title rights is maximum 4 hectares of land per family. Per family they should own only 4 hectares of land, only for land under cultivation prior to December 13, 2025. Okay, next is the use rights. Use rights is for grazing, pastoralist routes and ownership of minor forest produce. This right is given the use rights. The next is management rights. What are these management rights? The rights to protect, regenerate or conserve the community forest resources. Okay, next is the authority. What is the authority? The Gram Sabha is the authority. To initiate the process. For determining the nature and extent of individual's forest right. Nature of nature and extent of individual's forest right or community forest rights. Okay, this is the authority. What is the authority for this Forest Rights Act 2006? It is Gram Panchayats, Gram Sabhas. Okay, next. The next is National Green Tribunal Act 2010. What is the objective of this National Green Tribunal Act is, which is effective and expeditious disposal of cases related to environmental protection. Effective and expeditious disposal of cases relating to environmental protection, which is mandated to dispose of applications within 6 months, which is mandate to dispose the applications within the 6 months. Tribunals are what? Tribunals are what are these tribunals? We have learnt in the previous classes, right? Tribunals are small, within the court only, they are like small courts which gives the judgment faster, because many cases were being pending in the Supreme Court and High Court of India. That's why these tribunals have been created. Okay, next. What are the principles? The principle of this National Green Tribunal, the National Green Tribunal principle is not bound by the Code of Civil Procedure. It is not bound by the Code of Civil Procedure 1908, but is guided by the principles of natural justice. It is guided by the principle of natural justice. Okay, next. We will see few important jurisdictions which come under the National Tribunals Act. National Tribunals, National Green Tribunals. What are those? We will see. They are under 7 specific laws. These civil cases have been justified. What are those? Those are Water Act 1974, Water Cess Act 1977, Forest Conservation Act 1980, Air Act 1981, Environment Protection Act 1986, Public Liability Insurance Act 1991, Biological Diversity Act 2002. These are few acts which are where NGT deals with civil cases with these 7 specific laws. Okay, based on these laws only the court will give the justice to the acts or the problems. Okay, next. What is the UPSC trap of it is? The Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and the Forest Rights Act 2006 are outside the jurisdiction of National Green Tribunals. Okay, these two are outside the National Green Tribunals, they are not included in the NGTs. What are those two? The Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and the Forest Rights Act 2006. Only these 7 are included, rest these 2 are excluded from this NGTs. Okay, make a note on it, because they can give like they will give this they can give a statement like based on for NGT deals with civil cases under specific laws. Okay, they will give 5 laws and they will say which one are correct among them, which 7 are correct. Okay, then they will give Water Act 1974, they will give Water Cess Act 1977, in between they will mention the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, they will give Forest Conservation Act 1980 and so on, and 6 they will mention and 1 they might give Wildlife Protection Act or the Forest Right Act 2006. There will get confused. So have a note on it. Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and Forest Right Acts 2006 are not included in the NGT. Okay, next. Moving on, we will see a quick revision of these laws which have seen, the acts which have gone through. So, because they might give it in a match the following way in the examinations. We will see those. See the statutory body and the parent legislation of it. The first one is Central Pollution Control Board. Central Pollution Control Board, which is the parent legislation is Water Act 1974. Central Pollution Control Board's parent legislation is Water Act 1974. Next is the National Board for Wildlife. National Board for Wildlife comes under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The next is National Tiger Conservation Authority. National Tiger Conservation Authority, which comes under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Next is Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, which comes under Environment Protection Act 1986. Next is Central Groundwater Authority. Central Groundwater Authority comes under Environment Protection Act 1986. The next is Eco-Sensitive Zones Declarations. Eco-Sensitive Zones Declarations comes under which one? Comes under Environment Protection Act 1986. The next is Coastal Regulation Zones, which also comes under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Next is National Biodiversity Authority, NBA, which comes under the Biological Diversity Act 2002. These are few statutory bodies or rules which comes under the parent regulations. This is to score well in the match the following. This thing is required. Okay, so memorize this grid. Okay, next. Okay, these are few laws we have seen for today. These are the few laws we have seen for today for the environmental topic. So I hope everyone liked this video, and I hope this is very helpful for your prelims examination, which is very theoretical in nature, very statistical. So they might be in the examination either in the direct questions or in the indirect questions. So don't miss out this lecture. If you want a complete content on this, do visit our website and download it from there. The links are provided in the below description. And do like and subscribe our YouTube channel and follow our Instagram channel and our Telegram channel for your UPSC preparation. So see you all tomorrow with another video. Thank you.